So good afternoon, and thank you all for taking part in this virtual grant presentation. The foundation has worked hard to develop these grant programs, and with us today are some of the foundation members. If you want to wave at us so we can tell you participate with the foundation, and also to our wonderful staff. So why don't we start out with John Fridlington to talk to us a little bit as the CEO of SPAR. John?
Thank you very much, Amy. Congratulations to you grant recipient. We at SPAR have a motto, our essentially our mission statement, which is better agents, better communities. And we believe sincerely that it is very important that we work constantly to improve the quality of life and the quality of experience for residents of the Twin Cities. We are extremely dedicated, as is our whole Realtor Association across the country, 1.4 million Realtors in the United States, to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And ironically and appropriately, just this morning, the SPAR Executive Committee adopted a commitment statement to inclusion, to diversity, to equity. So we are now on the record officially supporting that, and we have a whole series of initiatives, including a new program that our National Association is unveiling next year called A Better America, which looks to root out social injustice and support at-risk youth. So this is a great time to support a worthy endeavor such as yours, which is so important to truth and reconciliation in American society. So thank you for everything you do.
Thank you, John. And with that, I'll turn it over to Patrick Ruble, who is our current president of the St. Paul Area Association of Realtors. Patrick, did you want to say a few words today?
Just a few words. Thanks, Amy. Just welcome, congratulations. We're happy to be able to continue our grant program, and couldn't be more happy than to provide it to your organization. We've enjoyed working with you. We look forward to working with you in the future as well.
Thank you, Patrick. And as they mentioned, I'm Amy Peterson. I'm the current president of the SPAR Charitable Foundation. And this year, we are excited to provide grants to the community totaling over $100,000 with our mission of building better communities. So when we receive the applications, they're evaluated based on the SPAR pillars, which are focus areas such as advocacy, community engagement, professional development, and communications. Again, they're all intended to create better agents and better communities. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Kevin Erman Solberg with Mapping Prejudice, who has developed a partnership with our SPAR Diversity Committee, which Sue Nichols is chairing this year. And he's going to tell us a little bit more about the Mapping Prejudice project and how the grant of $50,000 to the Mapping Prejudice project will be used. Kevin, take it away.
Thank you, Amy, and thank you everybody for the kind words and your continual support for the work that we're doing here over here at Mapping Prejudice. So, you know, about 4 years ago now, when I started this project with Dr. Kirsten Delegard and Penny Peterson, we had no idea, A, what we were doing really, or B, the legs that this project was going to have. I mean, the real origin story behind what became Mapping Prejudice was we were concerned with the contemporary racial disparities of Minneapolis, how particularly acute those are in the realm of housing, and kind of this general lack of, I don't know, understanding about how that was produced. And Dr. Delegard's a trained historian. I was actually an undergraduate at the time, and we looked to the historical record to try to explain some of that. And initially we thought we would find some racial covenants, maybe read an article about it, and then kind of get on with our lives. We all now work for Mapping Prejudice full time, so that's not what happened. Through the course of our kind of initial research, we just began to uncover a scope that we really didn't anticipate. I can tell you, I was just actually this morning finishing up the final data set for Minneapolis, and we have over 25,000 mapped and identified covenants in Hennepin County, racially restrictive covenants. We are now in the preliminary stages of porting this project over to Ramsey County, and your support is one of the reasons we are able to do that. The way that I usually kind of talk about Mapping Prejudice at this point is we're a project that's somewhat atypical, and at least in the context of academia, where we're really trying to do two things. On one hand, we're a data project, right? We've come up with this innovative process that leverages optical character recognition and crowdsourcing, geospatial science, kind of stitches all of that together. And this allows us to process property records at a kind of unprecedented rate, and allows us to identify and map these restrictive covenants using really kind of cutting edge technology. And that's why we're first project in the country to comprehensively identify and map historical housing restrictions at this scale, right? So kind of that's part of what we're doing. You know, we're building this database, and this database has already been used. It's helped change state law. It's been used by CPED. We're in kind of constant contact with various county and municipal agencies now, really throughout the state. So this has expanded beyond Minneapolis, who are, you know, telling us that like this is a valuable data set, right? This helps inform better data-driven policy decisions moving forward. So that's like great, right? But the other thing that we're doing is by opening up our methodology to the general public, and we have thousands and thousands of volunteers at this point who have committed hundreds of thousands of labor hours to this project. We're also doing a lot of narrative work, and we're really trying to kind of change this, I would say, idea that the Twin Cities holds pretty dear, which is that, you know, Jim Crow structural segregation was a Southern thing and never really happened up here in Minneapolis. And it's true, we didn't have segregated drinking fountains, we didn't have segregated buses, but we did have this hidden system of racially restrictive housing covenants. And frankly, these proved far more damaging long-term for the ability of these Black families to accumulate wealth through home ownership, right? As a group of realtors, this is no blazing insight for you, right? But, you know, most Americans have the majority of their wealth tied up in their home. And when you prevent a subset of the population from being able to participate in that process and being able to participate, you know, equitably in that process for the majority of a century, the downstream ramifications of that are incredibly significant. And we still see that today, where the Twin Cities has the highest disparity between Black and white homeownership rates in the country. Of the 102 largest metropolitan areas, you know, our racial homeownership gap is the largest. So as a project, we're A, trying to kind of compile all of this data to inform more articulate, precise policies, and B, we're trying to change the popular narrative around inequality, around racism, and around housing in the Twin Cities. We're now pretty much effectively done with Hennepin County. As I said, I was putting the final bow on the data set just this morning, and we're full steam ahead now in St. Paul. The transcription rate over there has been through the charts. You know, we are averaging almost 4 times as many online deed transcriptions per day than we were when we were just doing Hennepin County. The community engagement over there has been great. We've partnered with St. Kate's. We've given over 250 presentations over the last 3 years, just going into community, talking about this work, explaining, you know, kind of what we've learned and inviting people to participate, you know, in this process of excavating and better understanding the racist geographies that have produced such, you know, profound racial disparities in the Twin Cities. So I think with that, I'll turn it back over. I do want to reiterate how grateful we are for your continued support for our project. You know, we're I say atypical a lot, right? But we're a libraries research project, which is very, very atypical for the University of Minnesota, and we're almost exclusively reliant on outside funding. So the support that you've given is key to our kind of continued ability to continue to do this work and expand into other communities, and continue to produce these data sets and these community conversations, which we're hopeful can lead to meaningful, sustainable change. So I think with that, I will turn it back over, and thank you again.
Thank you so much, Kevin. From the standpoint of the realtors, I know Sue and her team and the committee have been planning a lot of things coming up, and those that have participated in the Hennepin County tracking of the covenants and did some of the computer work with that really learned a lot. And many were amazed to see that firsthand and how that affects us yet today. And so we're excited to work with you in terms of bringing that information to Ramsey County and continuing that important message. So thanks again, and we look forward to working with you. In just a quick summary of the other grant opportunities that are being presented today, there will also be a presentation to Housing First Minnesota with a $25,000 grant to help with a housing project in North St. Paul, and that is to help with transitional housing for veterans, so both families and individual to have a residence to be able to set up home. And the other grant recipient that we'll be discussing is Safe Summer Nights, which is a program that supports food and supplies for events that bring the St. Paul Police together with the communities that they serve. And so, you know, it also helps with individuals that need a meal. And it's really important in times like these to build that sense of community. So the other grant will be presented to Safe Summer Nights for $25,000. The grant participant or recipient that we have with us now is Housing First Minnesota Foundation. And so we'll talk to them in just a minute. And the third recipient is Safe Summer Nights, which is a collaboration between the St. Paul Police and area residents to get together with food and supplies to get out in the community and build important relationships. And that is a grant for $25,000 as well. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Donnie Brown, who is part of the Housing First Minnesota Foundation. And she's going to tell with her team how the $25,000 grant will be used by their foundation. So Donnie, take it away.
Well, thank you everyone for allowing us to have this opportunity. And actually, grants for us is really a partnership. And so on the phone today, I have Jody Kern, who is Housing First Minnesota Foundation, our board president, and also Tom Weiner, who is a past board member of our, who served on our board. And also he participated as a build partner on a previous project. And I'm Donnie Brown. And so I'm just gonna give a quick overview of how our projects work, and then I'll talk about the very specific project that we're talking about. But first, we just want to start off with Jody, just with a quick presentation.
Thank you, Donnie. On behalf of the Housing First Minnesota Foundation, I want to just say thank you. Thank you for your partnership. Thank you for your consideration. And thank you for being a partner for us in this build. It's very exciting, and the timeliness is unbelievable. Thank you.
Thank you. So the mission of the Housing First Minnesota Foundation is we partner to build safe housing for Minnesotans in need. We are the charitable arm of the Builders Association, which is called Housing First Minnesota. This year we celebrate our 25th year anniversary. And we're also a chapter that's called Homemade America. We're the Homemade Twin Cities chapter here locally. We've completed 55 projects and provided over 172 shelter beds. We have transformed, or what we called, built 87,000 square feet of dignified housing here in the Twin Cities area with a construction value of $4.7 million. And we also have a trade scholarship program. How do we do our work is basically the question, and why we're here is because we do our work in partnership. And so we partner with local nonprofit organizations that provide transitional housing or supportive services. Each partner must own the designation of the facility for at least 10 years after our partnership. And so they manage the client services, they do the intake, they do the groundskeeping, goal setting with the clients, and really provide a holistic services in regards of housing, mental health, and legal and employment services. They manage the property, and once an individual or family or a veteran achieves self-sufficiency, the home then becomes available for the next family or veteran in need. This particular funding that we received from the REALTORS Charitable Foundation went towards our Housing for Heroes project. We've completed three so far, one in St. Paul, one in the city of Maplewood, and one in the city of Bloomington. And we actually work with different city entities to acquire the lot from them. And so it usually takes us about 12 to 18 months in order to do that. And so with our partnership, we also partner with the builders to actually build and do the work on the facility. And so Tom was one that actually did a project for us. So I'll let Tom just give just a brief overview of just what the reward was of partnering with us as a builder on a project.
First of all, what I want to say is I've been past president of SPAR, as I hope most of, or a lot of you know, but some of you may not know. I was also past president of the Builders of Housing First. And this to me has always been my goal, this collaboration, because we're all in housing. So I appreciate both sides for making this work and doing this. I think it's just fantastic, a project, and I think it's great for both associations that we can hang our hats on. So thanks, Amy, thanks, Spar and Donnie, and all the work, and Jody that you guys have done over there too. I did a project with another remodeler this spring, this past winter. It was a Vivo project where it's an apartment where they have homes for it's women in rehab, and that it allows them for their children to stay with them. And from Mega Remodeling and myself did this. The reward of it was just what I found is even the subcontractors that we got to do the work for us, they were just blown away by the feeling of being able to do this for somebody, the work that they did. They volunteered their time. A lot of them volunteered their materials, and it was just a great experience for all of them. The biggest thing that I got, and not the biggest, but one of the messages I got is the building inspector, and usually we look at building inspectors as adversaries. The Minneapolis inspector was really great. When he got all done, he told the manager of the Vivo, when he was all done, he said, "This reconfirms my trust in humanity." He said to see something like this happen, he said, was just a great experience for him too. So yeah, everybody all the way across the board, it was fun. Yes, it took time, but it was very rewarding, as you know, these projects, these larger ones are too. So I'll shut up. Go ahead, Donnie.
Well, thank you. And so specifically, we have this project is Housing for Heroes in North St. Paul. We acquired the lot from the city of North St. Paul, and we built from the ground up. It took us about 18 months to get the lot, and construction started in May, the 22nd of May. And so on last Saturday, we had a sneak peek in conjunction with the Veteran Memorial Park project. And we allowed neighbors to walk through the facility. We must have had about 60 people that walked through. And in the weeks ahead in September, we will complete this project. And that's when we will actually do the ribbon cutting with the leadership of with SPAR as well. So it's been a great partnership, a great project. And I could not have asked for a better partner in the REALTORS Charitable Foundation. It is a project that would be available for veterans for years to come, and it would serve multiple people over multiple years. And so just the synergies were right for this project. And then especially during this time of COVID, when funding from events had halted, for you guys to step up in a big way to partner with us just meant the world. I mean, it made this project proceed forward, and also gave just a little bit more support with our leadership as well. So again, I just want to say thank you.
Well, thank you so much to Donnie, Jody, and Tom for your presentation today and working with us. We're really excited to see that positive energy continue, because it's definitely a much needed asset for that community. So thank you again. We appreciate everything that you've done.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks everybody.
You're welcome. And so just to kind of wrap things up, I want to introduce John Fridlington, who is the CEO of the St. Paul Area Association of Realtors. John, did you want to share a few words?
Yes, thank you, Amy. The synergy, as Tom alluded to, between Housing First Minnesota and SPAR is just a natural fit. And the Charitable Foundation, the SPAR officers feel that you guys are doing incredible work. I feel you're doing incredible work. For personal reasons, I have a real affinity toward any work that impacts positively the lives of veterans. In this time of so much uncertainty in the world, I agree with the city inspector, Tom, that seeing this kind of work does give you a sense that there is still humanity in the world and that the better angels of people will ultimately prevail. So thank you.
Thank you, John. And we are also joined today with SPAR's president, Patrick Ruble. Patrick.
Hey, Tom, Donnie, how are you? It's been a while since I've seen you. And Jody, nice to meet you.
I know. I didn't know you were
Listen, we're
president.
very, very happy and excited to be able to partner with you guys this year and provide this funding for this project. I know we've talked about similar projects in the past, and we've done successful projects with Housing First. And you really do feel like a very close member of the family, and look forward to doing more work with you in the future.
Should anyone decide to walk, I just want to wrap up to say, if anyone decides to just take a drive over and see the property, it is gorgeous. It's nestled right across the street from the Veteran Memorial Park, which is kind of the downtown area of North St. Paul. So on one corner is the Veterans Memorial Park, and right across the street is the house that we built for veterans. So just imagine your support when a veteran go in and they're living in that house, they can look across the street, the Veteran Memorial Park, and know that, you know, we continue to support them in a great way. So if you go down, it's off of 7th and Margaret, you can't miss it. It's a gorgeous piece of land that we received. So again, thank you, because we could not have done this without you guys' support.
Good.
Thanks again, Donnie. You know, these projects really fit well with the foundation's mission to build better communities. And as we evaluate the applications, part of that is based on SPAR's pillars or focus areas, which include advocacy, community engagement, professional development, and communications. And so this really ties both of our foundations together in a way that we can truly give back to the community and find ways to continue giving in the future. And so with that, Tom Campions is involved with the Safe Summer Nights project, and we'd like you to share a little bit about the project, to share with our members and help them understand how the grant of $25,000 will be put to great use in the area.
Hey. Well, first off, we are very humbled and grateful for for the commitment that you have given to Safe Summer Nights. $25,000 doesn't come around very often, and it'll go a long way towards the project and to one of your pillars is the community engagement. I think what Safe Summer Nights does and why we exist is strictly because of that. I'm sure you folks know the history, but essentially we put on outdoor picnics in communities, mostly communities of color, and in partnership with police departments all over the Twin Cities. And unfortunately, when we first started, obviously we had a extensive schedule. We had 19 events booked between St. Paul, Minneapolis, Bloomington, Oakdale. But like everything else, COVID has changed the dynamics of everything. I have been in regular contact with the community centers, with the police departments, but obviously our typical group is between 1,000 to 1,500 people. I don't have to tell you, that's not happening, and it's not going to happen this year. We have met and we are talking about maybe going in a different direction, smaller venues at the rec centers. But the problem is the city of St. Paul has all of their rec centers shut down for the summer. So one step further from that, a caveat to this, there's a group, they're called the community ambassadors. St. Paul has about 40 of them. Older men. I don't think there's any women in it, but they're older men, mostly of color, and essentially they are hired by the city in Ramsey County, and they are the liaison between rec centers and schools and police departments. That they spend their time at rec centers, at schools. They're on the streets downtown St. Paul, and really a wonderful group of guys. I met last week with a gentleman. His name is Joel Franklin. He's an attorney. He spent his first 10 years of his career with the NAACP. He currently is the project manager for the community ambassadors. I met with him and Tim Simmons and Steve Randall, and we're going to attempt to do some type of get-togethers with groups of maybe 100 or less. We'd ideally like to do them at rec centers, but we have to get the okay from the city and from the parks and recs. That's going to be a challenge, until we get further past our situation with COVID here. Our hands are really tied, but I will give you a solemn commitment that we're going to figure this out some way, somehow. We can continue to reach out to the communities. I had coffee a week ago with Chief Arredondo in Minneapolis, and week before that with Chief Todd Axtell, and they would love nothing more in light of everything that's going on to be able to get back on track with having events. And again, I very simply, our events, food is just the caveat to get people there. From there, what police departments do and what neighborhoods do, we just bring them together. And there's been so many. I could sit here all afternoon and tell you stories of different occurrences and events that have happened through the last 6 years with it. And today, in today's environment, we could all argue that we need community engagement more than ever. So there's a longing for this program, but COVID has just set up a roadblock, but it will be temporary, and this too shall pass. So I wish I had better news on how and when and where we're going to do it, but I don't have clear-cut answers on that at this point.
Oh, we completely understand, Tom. And once you do, our community engagement team is ready to partner with you if there's different needs for volunteers at some upcoming events or other ways that we can help support the cause, because it is so important.
Yeah, I'd love to have you people come out and I'm just going to tell you one quick story of what potentially can happen when we get people together. We were at an event last summer, late in the summer. It's at a park right down off of Concord Street and Robert Street. We had at least 15 to 1,800 people. They had music playing and the games going on, police officers playing bag games. And there's a black gentleman who comes and he brings music and he pipes it. And it's really been a nice touch to it. So I look over there and there's about 50 to 60 people. There's 3 cops, older black ladies, young kids, you name it. And they're all doing line dances out there. And a woman, she was 81 years old, sharp as could be. She was black. And she came up to me and she said, I understand that you're the one. I said, well, I'm involved in it. Yes. She said, I'm telling you, I've lived in this neighborhood for 55 years. She said, I ain't never seen nothing like that. You look over there. There's white cops dancing with black kids and people of color. And there's Asians here and they're black and everybody's eating and having a good time. She said, I'm at the end of it. She took my hand and she said, looked me in the eye and she said, Tom, we can all change. We can all do better. And I mean, it just brought tears to my eyes. She couldn't have been any more heartfelt and sincere. And that kind of interaction makes it worthwhile for us to continue to do this mission.
Definitely. And that's what we need more of, especially after everything that's that's been going on. So thank you so much for continuing your efforts and thinking outside of the box during these COVID times. And we really look forward to seeing all of the wonderful things that are still ahead with the project, and certainly, you know, allowing our members to get involved, to learn a little bit more and be involved firsthand too. So just want to applaud you for your efforts and say congratulations again. So thank you all for being here today and for this presentation. And congratulations again to Mapping Prejudice Project, the Housing First Minnesota Foundation, and Safe Summer Nights. It will be really exciting to follow all the good works that all of you are doing. And we're excited about the positive energy that you bring to the community. So thank you again.